got one pose on one side and then also some center pose. This is his best shot. And the second one, the one underneath, the butterfly, that was an actual person that I was walking through the park and she was there. I think it was a fashion show. And so I asked her, I said, may I take your picture? And she said, sure. And so this was her best shot. I took several shots. And then I added a lot of other background to make the picture look more attractive.
Thank you.
Right.
Rosie.
Hi. Hello. I'm sorry for being late.
Don't worry. You made it.
I like to thank Maria and Villarreal for giving us the opportunity to expose ourselves.
Yes.
Everybody knows me by Tony's wife. So I start painting.
We're stamped.
Tony's wife. So I start painting just so that I could get a little bit of myself. What happened is that when we get married, we start losing our identity, and we don't even realize how much we need. Then we have our children, and we just keep on going in our regular lives. And sometimes I think that creativity is in all of us. We just have to find it and find a little time to do it. I suggest not to be scared because I was scared to do it. I wanted to paint for the longest time, but I was always afraid of doing it. One day I thought, well, it's only canvas and paint and brushes, so what could happen to me? It'll be just like going to the garbage anyway. So I start painting, and as I start painting, I start coming up with ideas. I never went to school or anything. I'm a little bit self-taught, and I started just recently, not long ago. When Maria saw my work for the first time, she thought it was a younger person because I think inside I'm still young, even though I'm 50 already.
We're all still young.
But I'm still young at heart, so that's how I start. And thank all of you for coming and for getting to know each other. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the nice work that you guys can bring over here. And
Rosie's work is on this wall. All those 6 paintings over there are Rosie's work. And she's really grown because the other work, she goes, I'm going to make something. And she was, like she said, she didn't think her work was good. I go, you know what, you need to come out. That's what you need to do.
Okay, Alba. Your turn.
Okay. My name is Alva Nelms. I just had the pleasure of meeting Miss Maria, I guess last year. Last year. When I started working with Sky Arts, South Chicago Arts Center. And I used to live in Chicago. I left Chicago like 30-something years ago and moved everywhere. And my daughter moved here, who was born here, but she moved everywhere with me as well, but she married back here. And she called me up when it says, Mom, I was living in Virginia. She says, Mom, why don't you just come live with me? Come to Chicago. Chicago's your kind of place. So I've been back here for like a year and a half, almost 2 years, but I love Chicago. But anyway, I met Maria, so that's one of the reasons I love Chicago. But also, it's a privilege to be in a room full of women this powerful and strong, and beautiful and artistic and all that, Because like, I tell my students that, what artists do that no one else does is they are able to create magic. With art, you can make somebody cry, you can make them laugh, you can make them change the way they feel about something, There's nothing else in our world that does that, besides art. And so we're privileged to be able to have access, I think, to that kind of emotion and allow it to flow through us. That's how I feel that what it does. So, and also, when I was 40, I said that 40 was like my prime. I moved the prime age up a little bit. Well, I realized that I'm not there yet. So.
I love it.
It's going to be a continually moving target. But I draw, paint, I do sculpture, I do crafts, I do leather, I sew, I've done theater design, I've done everything. Because when I was 17 years old, my mother, we had 4 kids, she raised all of us, and she used to work 3 jobs, like 3 nurse aid jobs, be able to do that, right, 4 kids. So when I was like 17, 16, I made a commitment to myself to never work for anybody else. So what that meant was I learned how to do a lot of things. And also my commitment was never do anything I don't want to do. So, and I've lived by that, and I feel blessed because I meet some people that are not, that done things that they don't want to do. You know, so not that I haven't been in trouble or, you know, close calls. but, you know, so it has allowed me to explore so many different things with art and life. And I'm still fortunate to be able to still explore every day that I live. You know, and then also now I'm teaching art to kids, so it's just giving back. Teaching, and hopefully I can teach one kid how to live by their own energy. To me, that's what an artist does.
So true.
Kevin and Joanne, you just want to introduce yourselves and
No, to him and says, write it. No, it wasn't quite that directive, but she did indicate in the we went to the meeting to find out what was happening, and by the time we left the meeting, I understood I was supposed to write the thing. That's all.
So 21, that's what you get for showing up.
Yeah,
21 days later, he had the script, and he combined it with music of the era, and it was actually done.
Yeah.
It was a one-night thing.
Yes, I'm sorry.
They sold 100 tickets, but for a while we thought we were going to sell anything because it was scheduled for the day had the Cubs won, they would have been in the World Series. So there are a lot of people who are kind of hesitant about signing up. But it was a marvelous event, and now they're working on a second one, which will also be in October.
And with that, we should probably stop talking.
Because
we're eating up all your time. We're peripheral.
Don't worry about it.
we're so sorry we missed.
It's all good.
Thank you both for coming
Thank you.
because you both,
Thank you, Marge.
Kevin and Joanne, have always been wonderful in the community, documenting a lot of the artistic endeavors that the community has developed, and also working in various areas just about South Chicago. They are South Chicago's biggest promoters, and for that we thank you.
Yes.
And at this point, my name is Marge Guerra. I know most of you. My background is, thanks to Maria, arts and education. I did 14 and a half years in arts and education working with Mary.
That's what I forgot to tell you all. That's where I met Maria in Urban Gateway.
Yeah. Well, I knew her before I went to Urban Gateway. She was the reason I ended up there. Yes. And her and Gamaliel.
I said, you need a job?
Yeah. She came home one day and she goes, do you need a job? We're sitting in the kitchen.
You
We were
finished
next
bilingual
door
slap.
neighbors. And she's like, you like art? Come on. Go apply for this job. This is a great place. Went, applied, ended up sitting 2-3 hours with Ronnie Hartfield, the executive director, as my interview, and ended up coming out with a job. And it was a great experience, but it combined my love of art and my love of people. So I was able to expand my basis because my family had always incorporated the arts into our world, into everything that we did. And they were very much promoters of the arts. They were very much followers of the arts. And so I kind of naturally went into that, and going into Urban Gateway was like the epitome, and a big light bulb went off in my head because I was like, wow, I can hang out and do all this cool stuff. I can see the dance theater at Harlem. I can go to the Sinfonetta. I can see the Bolshoi Ballet. I can do all this stuff and get paid for it. Heck yeah, I was thrilled. But it was also an awakening for me personally as a woman, because it allowed me to see that my world wasn't restricted. I needed just to open it the way I opened myself to the arts. So I stayed in the arts administration, coordinating programs, working with Mary and then with Maria, and loved it until I ended up leaving. And then I ended up coming into South Chicago, working in a program in community development, and was able to bring my arts component into the community at that point. Because at that point, I was like, well, if you're going to recreate the community, if you're trying to get your community to come together, the arts is the perfect tool. That's, it's just light. The arts project light. And so I was like, let's bring some artists, let's do some stuff, combine it with community development and all. So
the 13 years that I was working in South Chicago doing community development and community organizing, I was able to bring that, and we started working on developing galleries. We started working on murals in the community and such. So my background is arts and education, I say, and also community development. But Maria and I are since the early 70s, we've been hanging out together for a very long time. Our kids grew up together, and we have stayed as sisters for forever. So, but I was born and raised in South Chicago also. So my heart was here already. And whatever I could bring back from my going out of the community. And at one point, I got told I wasn't a South Chicagoan anymore because I didn't live in the community anymore, and I wasn't working in the community. And I looked at somebody and I said, you know what? If that's what you believe, that's wonderful. But my heart knows where it is. And what I learned going out of the community benefited for me to bring that to the community. I said, so I feel that when we venture out of our communities, no matter where they are, we always bring back, and that is the epitome of education and learning to me. Being able to blossom and go out and learn and experience, and then bring it back so that others can see that. That is how we inspire. Sitting in a theater watching children of all nationalities seeing the Bolshoi Ballet, or seeing the dance theater of Harlem, or experiencing the folkloric dancing of Mexico on stage, and seeing all of their jaws just drop at the beauty of each culture, different of their own. But they're being able to see that and say, wow, that's cool. That just made me a firm believer that arts are the way. And I brought up my family that way. My children are all arts enthusiasts. They support the arts. They take their kids to art exhibits. You'll see me with my grandchildren. Come on, let's go. Come on, we're doing this. I've dragged them to community projects that we've done. And I really believe in the arts, and having hung out with Maria and Roman for so long, they've rubbed off on me. So I
coming back.
Yeah, I keep coming back. So to me, seeing the women here, and when Maria called me and said, "How do we do this?" I'm like, "Cool, we're doing it. Let's do it. What can we do?" So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank the girls again. And so let's have some wine and hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, I